Maranatha, my PBC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with another quick bite, living the word. So our word today is going to come from a story that we're hopefully pretty familiar with from Exodus chapter 15. But I want to read to you the story. Basically, if you remember Exodus, and we get there when they get the children of Israel get out of Egypt, and they're now on the Sinai Peninsula. They've now escaped Pharaoh and his armies. They've had the Red Sea crossing. They've seen God work in miraculous ways, and God provide for them and take care of them in so many miraculous ways. But then they get out in the middle of the desert there. And this is where we pick it up at, and it's almost the first story after the Red Sea. But this is what we run into. It says, "So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. And he said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and to keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee." Now, what I love about this story so much is there's some really beautiful typologies in here, and we'll talk more about these later on in our Through the Bible study. But what I love about this idea, guys, here is this. The people have just seen God work miraculously in their lives, do a miraculous thing for them. And they get out there, and the minute they start to feel a little discomfort, a little bit of displeasure in their lives, what do? They begin to murmur. They begin to complain. And I know that none of us can relate to that, can we? The minute that hard comes upon us or difficulty comes upon us, we begin to murmur, we begin to complain. So they found no water, though. And the only thing they kept finding with everything they kept doing, all their murmuring and complaining, the only thing they kept finding was what? Bitter water. Bitter waters in the land of Marah there, so to speak, in the area of Marah. And all they kept finding was bitterness. Because why? Because they were complaining all the time. And it's amazing because when we complain all the time, that's what we find is bitterness in our hearts, in our lives. But if we would take it to the tree, all right, as you saw there, Moses took a tree and cast it into the waters, and they became sweet. If we would take our complaining and take our murmuring and our bitterness to the tree, that tree being the cross of Jesus Christ, we could see all of a sudden that which we normally would consider bitter now becomes sweet. It can be something that we love, that we can actually grow from and enjoy and find joy in. And that's why he goes on and says in there, he says, If thou wilt diligently hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight. If you would hearken unto the Lord your God, do what is right in his sight, then here's the beautiful part about it. You know the tree will always provide the sweet water. So I hope this encourages you today. Just remember, not sit there and murmur and complain and get bitter. Take it to the tree, take it to the cross, nail it there, leave it there, and let Christ bring back the joy and the sweetness. I hope this encourages you tonight or this day. I love you, we love you, God loves you, and God's got this.